What's the difference between the ultra-wealthy and the middle class? Sure, they have more money, but one key difference is the service they get from their financial advisor. You see, regular folks usually are sold an off-the-shelf product. It's a stock or bond or will or trust, tax return or an annuity. But it's just an individual product or service. Their advisor never looks at the person's whole financial picture in a holistic way. Contrast that with the ultra-wealthy person. His or her advisor knows all these pieces of the financial puzzle, financial, tax, insurance, and legal, have to work together, in harmony, like an orchestra. Sure, one violin sounds good, but an entire orchestra? Now that's beautiful music. If your current advisor isn't looking at your plan with all these areas coordinated, you could have a dangerous gap in your strategy and not even know it. You could pay excessive taxes and fees and risk losing everything due to a catastrophic health event, or even run out of money in retirement. You need an advisor who can conduct your whole financial orchestra by creating a holistic financial plan. Stay tuned to the next video to learn more. Let's look at a cycle we all go through during our lifetime. It's called the money cycle and includes 3 phases: accumulation, preservation, and distribution. Accumulation usually starts when you're a kid. You've got a piggy bank where you put your tooth fairy money, babysitting income, money from mowing the lawn. Maybe you open a junior checking account. The accumulation phase goes on through your working years as you build your life savings. Maybe you open a retirement savings plan. And maybe your employer even puts money in there for you. Then, as you get closer to retirement, you should move some of that hard-earned money into the preservation phase. You're financially stable and are looking ahead to stop working within the next 10 years and start enjoying retirement. There's less time to make mistakes with your money or experience major volatility because you're going to need this money sooner rather than later. Finally, the last phase of the money cycle is distribution. Distribution to yourself in retirement and to your family upon your passing. This is when you begin to draw from what you've accumulated and preserved and start taking an income from your savings and investments. The biggest mistake that people make is they go directly from the accumulation phase to distribution, and they never preserve a portion of their assets to draw from in the first phase of their retirement. They continue to invest their money as if they were a long ways out from retirement, when in reality, it's right around the corner. When the market has big corrections, as it always does, and you're taking distributions, you're essentially forced to sell your investments for income when the market's down. You can never make that money back, and you could deplete your savings much faster as a result. This is how you run the risk of running out of money later in life. What's the solution? You need to preserve a portion of your assets as we approach retirement. The way to do this is to take a bucket planning approach to your distribution of income. Look at distribution in terms of money you will need in the now, soon, and later time frames. To learn how, stay tuned for the next video. Most people have heard of a bucket list, but have you ever heard of the bucket plan? The old way to plan for retirement was to keep a little bucket of money in the bank and a big bucket of money in savings and investments for the future. But, as we all know, the market goes up and down. If you're pulling money out of your big bucket of money for income when the market is down, you essentially have to cash in a larger piece of your portfolio to get the amount of money you need. Ultimately, this creates one of the biggest concerns facing retirees today: running out of money. Enter the bucket plan. The bucket plan is a 3-bucket approach to structuring your assets to provide reliable income throughout retirement. This includes now, soon, and later buckets. First, the now bucket provides safe and liquid money. This includes money for your emergency fund and large planned expenses for the first few years of retirement, like a car or new roof on the house. There's little to no growth these days at the bank, but these cash savings or money market accounts also aren't exposed to market volatility. By pulling this money off the table, you can sleep better at night knowing it's there when you need it. The second bucket is the soon bucket. This is your conservative investments and income money. This money you may need sooner rather than later, and it can be used as a planned income source for the first phase of retirement. It's set up for growth to help offset inflation, but invested conservatively. This way, if there was a big correction or downturn, this money won't experience the full swing of the stock market that could impact your spending plans during the early years of retirement. Lastly, there's the later bucket. This is your long-term growth and legacy planning money. There's more growth opportunity than in buckets 1 and 2 because it's invested for the long term. You have bought a time horizon with the now and soon buckets, and may be willing to take on more volatility, knowing you have plenty of time before you plan to use this money. You can confidently invest in the later bucket without having to worry about the day-to-day market volatility. This may also be your legacy planning money, not just for your kids, but for your surviving spouse. When one spouse passes, the household income almost always goes down, and oftentimes taxes go up. This bucket of money helps you to plan for that. Are you ready to make your money go the distance? To put a plan in place for the different phases of your retirement, ask your financial advisor for the bucket plan planning process.